For most of my life, I was a very lonely person. In early adolescence and through my teenage years and young adult years, I was a really lonely, sad kid. I fortunately made and had a lot of friends, but it was hard for me to feel connected to them because I was so deeply insecure in myself. So I leveraged my humor, right, my recklessness, and lots of drug and alcohol use in order to find that connection, which sometimes it was actually pretty great, to be honest. And it was all built on, you could say, a rotten foundation because I didn't fundamentally like or appreciate or was connected to who I really was as a person. I wasn't trained to, I wasn't taught to. And it wasn't until later in my life, I'm 47 right now, it wasn't until I was probably in my early 30s that I started to get more and more connected to myself. I started to spend time with myself, time alone, time in stillness, time in nature. And I found that when I fostered this connection with the aspect of myself that goes beyond the personality, that exists only in stillness and silence in the beginning, that I was able to get connected to other people. I've always had great friends in my life, but the depth of the connection to my friends and my family and the partners that I used to have, romantic partners, increased dramatically as I got more connected to myself. So when we ask ourselves the question, how do I foster meaningful connection with others? We must first address the relationship with ourselves. So let's talk more about that. In this day and age, we're more digitally connected than we ever have been, but there are more and higher records of loneliness in the world across all cultures than there ever have been. So let's talk about how we do this and how we get connected to other people, because that's really what we want. There's always the asterisk here, though, that you need to be connected to yourself. And the connection to yourself will limit your connection to other people. You can only be as connected to other people as you are connected to yourself. Now, sometimes being connected to other people can deepen our experience with ourselves. So it's not to say that one comes before the other. They happen at the same time. And yet, if we don't spend time with ourselves in a productive way, and I'll talk about what that means, then we limit ourselves of how much connection we can feel from the outside, right? So there are a number of barriers that we can experience in getting connected to ourselves. We can not spend the time, right? Scroll on Instagram. There's many interesting things. On my feed, I have rock climbers, stand-up comedy, spirituality, and personal development, right? That's what my Instagram feeds looks like. And I'll spend 30 minutes sometimes scrolling and looking at very interesting things that for me are actually like pretty uplifting and entertaining, right? But if I don't spend time, I'll say this in my sense, if I didn't spend time, for me it's an hour or two every morning and about an hour at night with myself, that experience of scrolling on this very entertaining stuff and sometimes uplifting and meaningful and wise things wouldn't have meaning because it wouldn't be built upon a foundation that would be useful. Our past wounds and old expectations limit our ability to connect with others. Why? Because we protect ourselves. For good reason. We were hurt in the past, sometimes even subconsciously. And so our expectations of how we want others to act, how they act or what they say reminds us of ourselves or other relationships, that all gets in the way. So the more that we can look at and examine with a conscious, kind, compassionate eye and with some guidance, hopefully, those wounds and expectations that we had and now have of others. And if we explore those, then we can take those limitations from between the relationships that we want to deepen now and creating relationships that we want to have that are deep. And the third barrier that we'll talk about right now is don't expect people to give what you need to give to yourself. Take that expectation off of them and bring it back to you. Because you are the only one that can have yourself feel the way you want to feel. Can you enroll other people in that exploration, in that creation? Yes, of course. Ultimately, it is only about you, though, your relationship with you. So the more that you can take back any expectation that you've put on others to make you or have you feel a certain way, the more you will free yourself up to have more and deeper connection with others. So how do we do that? The first thing that we do is practice. So let's take just a few minutes right now, and we're just going to center and become in a place that's going to give us access to being connected to ourselves and therefore connected to other people. So this isn't a meditation, right? So you don't have to get your spine straight or close your eyes. You're welcome to. I do that all the time. But you don't have to, because we want to do this in our daily life. So just right now, take a breath. And relax. And simply allow whatever is happening for you right now to occur. Maybe you're thinking about things I've said. Maybe you're looking at this photo over my shoulder. Maybe you're noticing something in your room or your environment. And just bring your attention inside and notice how you are. The state of your mind, the state of your feelings. And practicing right now, accepting all that's happening inside and around you, resisting nothing. Accept the sounds, accept the movement, accept the feelings. It's all okay. It's all happening. We're not going to change anything right now. And now, just within you, make the decision to be open. Make the decision for yourself to be willing. Make that decision for yourself to create connection with yourself. We create connection through acceptance. We create connection through openness and willingness, first with ourselves, then with others. And if you've closed your eyes, you can allow your eyes to open whenever you like. If you haven't closed your eyes, hello. So when we are connected to ourselves like this, or when we're practicing being connected to ourselves like this, we open the opportunity to be connected to others. Now, you can be this way internally and be loud and be moving and be on stage and be doing anything. It's all about how we are inside and how we bring that into our interactions and our movements through our lives. We're not living in caves, right? You're out in the world. You have a job. You have relationships. You have roles. There's a lot that you do, obviously, in the world, and that I do in the world. And when we practice coming from that place, we create the possibility for deeper connection, not only with other people, but with circumstances. So that's what we can do. Now, notice people in your life who foster that inside of you, who foster that experience inside of you. And you're probably the closest with people that give you that experience or allow that experience to exist inside of you. So become aware of the people that do that and the people that don't. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to say break up with those people or don't see those people. That's not how sophisticated life really works. Notice how you can generate this experience inside of the relationships that don't bring it to you. This is the path of service. And you don't have to be a monk or a nun to be of service to people or to live a life of service, right? So some of those relationships, especially with family, you're not going to say, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm never going to see you again. Practice bringing that state into those relationships. At the same time, remove the expectation that you have that they're going to give it to you. You be the one responsible of generating that, right? And bring that to them and then see how that shifts the relationship. It will. Spoiler alert, right? Thirdly, create relationships from that place. Start new relationships, whether it's friends or romantic or whatever kind of relationship it is, professional. practice creating relationships from that place. And if you don't know what to say, spend enough time connected to yourself, just like we did together, and then see what you are called to say, right? Part of this is that when we get connected to ourselves like that, we are creating a new relationship with ourselves, and we're creating ourselves in a new way. We're new. So we may not know what to say. And you might catch yourself at saying the same thing in the same way over and over again until you practice this enough and you're like, oh, I don't need to say that. Or you say it in a totally new, softened, connected, cool, vibrant, entertaining way, right? And now bring that experience into everything that you do. Practice bringing that into everything that you do. Now you won't, which is fine. I don't, right? And this is my thing. So, but practice, right? Practice bringing into everything that you do. And then finally, spend time with yourself, right? The more that you spend time with yourself and you practice reclaiming the responsibility for your own state, for yourself, that you do that yourself and you take it back from others, the less conflict you're going to be in with other people, the less tension, the less arguments you'll get in. I'm a psychotherapist too, and I've been doing it for 20 years. So much of the conflict that arises in relationships is because of implicit expectations that other people have of other people. And they're usually emotional, right? And this whole topic of creating connection often is one of those key sources of conflict, that I or people expect others to have them feel a certain way, and they don't take the ultimate responsibility for themselves. So practice all this stuff. Let me know how it is, and we'll see you next time.